More city students took to the streets today outside of City Hall,
where they joined the fight for the nationwide push for safer schools by rallying. Now, hundreds of students walked out today, walked out of class, and marched right here to City Hall. And what they did was they were pushing for stricter gun control legislation. Now, here's some video we shot earlier. Students from schools all over the city, like the Lab School and the Gilman School, were involved in the protests, which come less than a month after the deadly shooting in Florida that left 17 people dead.
Local students now join thousands of others across the country crying out for tougher gun laws. They held signs saying books, not bullets, and disarm hate. For those students, today's rally was about raising awareness to spur some real change.
The laws that have been instituted in the 18th century when guns were, the right to bear arms was a thing, that amendment doesn't really apply today considering the weapons can be used to commit mass murder.
We want change. We want change in the law. We want change in our politicians. We want them to actually pass bills and laws in order that there's a change in the gun control.
Mayor Pugh also was there at the rally today. We're going to hear more reaction from that coming up tonight on ABC 2 News at 6 o'clock. You know, one solution to gun violence, we've heard a lot about this lately, is arming teachers. That's what Delegate Rick Impalaria has proposed in Maryland. Teachers in Baltimore City say they oppose the idea, saying that they should focus on what they are teaching, not arming themselves. Baltimore Teachers Union President Marietta English says many of our lawmakers are willing to ignore the safety of millions of students, parents, and educators for a controversial, politically motivated agenda. She goes on to say this is the latest example of their stark disconnect from the true needs of public school districts across the country. Well, after a wave of potential threats to Anne Arundel County schools, county leaders are putting nearly $15 million into upping school security.
Yeah, ABC 2 News' Skylar Henry joins us right now with more on today's news conference. And Skylar, is the plan to put more police officers in the schools? Or?
Yeah, that and a little bit more than that, talking about upgrading security cameras, increasing door locks, things like that, and putting tactical gear for every school resource officer, even staff. That's right, I said it, even staff tactical gear. Just last night, there was a shooting threat made at Broadneck High School in Annapolis. That turned out to be a 9th grader pranking the school. Still, police were on campus today as a precaution. Chief Tim Altamere says it's threats like these that's forcing him and his department to lose a lot of sleep.
We don't have the luxury of treating a school threat as not legitimate, because it's the one we don't treat as legitimate that's going to jump up and bite us.
Now, the plan will be funded over the course of 2 years. Some of that money is coming from the state. Both police and the school system say school resource officers are vital to keeping students as safe as possible, and the money will allow there to be one of those officers in every middle and high school in the district. Now, as for that teen, he was arrested and charged. County Council still has to approve the security upgrade proposal.
All right, Skylar, thank you. Well, we have a man accused of threatening to blow up a business because his mom was selling her property. Police say that Blake Dubois was capable of carrying out an attack at Craig Paving in Hagerstown. They searched his Pennsylvania home and they found explosive devices. Dubois told police he had nothing to lose. His mom was selling her property to Craig Paving. The owner reported the threat yesterday.
We had a 14-day-old baby found at a firehouse.
Yeah, the father is now charged after the infant went missing.
Plus, the third most common cancer in both men and women. We're going to take a look at the fight against colon cancer. You're watching ABC 2, the station that works for you. Working for your health tonight, March is National Colon Cancer Awareness Month.
And we want to help spread the awareness for the third most common cancer in both men and women here. ABC 2 News' Chanel Pearman has the story of one woman's battle with the disease.
Better.
Doctor appointments are much easier for Kate Wagner. She's feeling good with no problems to report. More than a year ago, that wasn't the case.
I was going weeks without eating, and I could not use the bathroom. And then eventually I was literally vomiting feces. And then I kind of figured, it's time to go to the doctors.
Unfortunately, the doctors she went to didn't give her the answers to her problem. They couldn't pinpoint exactly what was wrong.
So I went to the doctors, and the doctor said, oh, well, you'll be fine. It might be an ulcer. And And I knew it wasn't that.
She had her symptoms for a year and they only got worse. That was until Wagner went for a second opinion at MedStar Hospital. Dr. Abhinav Sankanini listened to her symptoms and decided to perform a colonoscopy. What he found was surprising.
To my surprise, actually, when I was doing the colonoscopy, I looked at it and I was surprised and to find a mass, which was most likely a cancer.
And it was. News Wagner did not expect to hear.
Definitely surprised. It wasn't something that we thought it was going to be at all. So we were hoping for nothing, naturally, but if it was going to be something, at least something that was treatable, that wasn't necessarily a risk of taking my life.
Wagner thought about her life and her family, and she knew the battle with colon cancer she was now going to have to face was going to be difficult.
It was hard to deal with the whole situation all the way around, and then I had 3 children, so it was a little hard to be able to explain to my children what was going on and then see their faces and worry.
But thanks to the team of medical professionals at MedStar Hospital, Wagner's cancer was treatable with surgery. Last April, Wagner went through a double mastectomy, and now she's cancer-free.
The good thing about working in a big organization like this is I was able to help Kate, with a medical oncologist, surgical oncologist, GYN oncologist, and a genetic counselor, and the whole team, helped her.
With the past behind her, Wagner is looking forward to more days ahead. She's taking her vitamins and following up with Dr. Sakanini for a yearly colonoscopy. More than anything, she's feeling good.
I feel phenomenal. I don't feel like I've been through anything.
Screening is the #1 way to reduce the risk for colon cancer. If you're experiencing abdominal pain, change in bowel habits, bloody stool, or even weight loss, these are all red flags you should get checked out immediately. Early detection with symptoms is key so doctors can treat it. For ABC2 News, I'm Chanel Perriman.
And ABC2 is working for you, making sure you know the truths and the myths about colon cancer. So tomorrow we're going to have all the experts from MedStar Health Cancer Network on hand to answer your questions. You can join us right here on ABC2 News at 5, 5:30, and 6 as we address colon health.
And now from ABC2, Maryland's most accurate forecast.
And more winter weather to talk about. A winter weather advisories in effect, and even some winter storm watches and warnings were still in place as we started today. And now we'll break down the scenario and what you could expect as we go into the day tomorrow. So a wintry mix that's going to arrive tonight, and a mixture of rain, snow, and sleet will continue all the way through your Wednesday. But primarily, it's going to be the morning where it's going to cause some issues. Temperatures will be near the freezing mark during the overnight hours, primarily in sections northeast of the city. So we'll talk about those accumulation potentials. But all in all, for your rush hour commute, some of us are actually going to have to take some sweet time as we go into work and also to school in the morning. So I'll break that down for you in just a moment. We do have a cold pocket of air aloft, which is changing some of this rain you see here on radar to some sleet and even some ice pellets as it falls, or I should say some grapple as it's falling, which is another way of saying frozen water. And we're starting to see that reported across the area. So just wanted to let you know, as you're driving home or driving out and about later tonight, that's what you're going to be seeing falling. We already have the mostly cloudy conditions network wide, and this is the first sign of this system that's pushing in. But we reached a high temp of 45 degrees, so still above average. This morning start, however, 24 for the morning start, normal for us at 50 degrees, and we're holding steady at 42. The dew point's at 24, so the air mass or the moisture content starting to increase with the moisture, and winds are from the south-southeast at around 9 miles per hour. So all of this plays into how the forecast is going to change into the overnight. Holding steady for our numbers in the 40s, Parksville at around 42, Gwen Oak at 43, Pikesville 42 degrees as well, Westminster at 41. The Bay still warm at 42, but look at the cooler air to the west, Deep Creek at 28. The cooler air is going to be pushing in with this area of low pressure that's developing, and that's why we have winter weather advisories in western Maryland. But closer to central Maryland, just north of the immediate Baltimore metro area, winter weather advisory is in effect. This does include Cecil County, all of Harford County, and a portion of Baltimore County and all of Carroll County, and that's because of what we're expecting into the overnight. So here's your forecast. We'll turn stormy as far as this system starting to move in our direction. So therefore, the rain's going to pick up. It's going to mix with some snow, and that's something we'll be dealing with from midnight and beyond. Keep an eye on the numbers, however. They are going to stay above the freezing mark. Therefore, we are not expecting a major impact on the roads. So some slushy snow will be there for the bus stop forecast. This is enough to slow you down, but not completely shut down as far as the rush hour commute. That wintry mix will still be there from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., so your morning will be a mess. So allow more time. Those windshield wipers will definitely be going for sure. Now here's a look at what's going on with Futurecast. You'll see the moisture pushing back into the area. Temperatures are going to be just a touch above the freezing mark, but watch how it changes to a wintry mix. That's that purplish color you see there. Snow, rain, sleet, all fair game into the overnight, and that's what's going to slow us down into the morning scenario for tomorrow. As far as what we're thinking for snow potential, I will let you know, if you look closely, this is primarily for grassy surfaces and cars, but the greatest snow accumulation is going to be north and east of the city. Everywhere else, a dusting to 2 inches will be expected, and we'll be dealing with the rain throughout most of your Wednesday, a high temp of just 39 degrees, but brighter skies ahead as we get towards Thursday. This time around, a high temperature climbs up back into the 40s. Sunshine returns just in time for us to have a breezy scenario for Thursday and Friday. We spring ahead, and we have another system we'll have to watch as we go into your Monday. So a lot going on in this 7-day forecast. So we're into March. Winter's trying to hold on to us because it knows spring is right around the corner. So we have 2 systems to get through, and we'll keep you up to date with this active pattern.
All right, spring just 2 weeks away.
Just 2 weeks away.
All right, well, you have a chance to get the heck out of here. All you have to do is hit the Mega Millions tonight, all right? The Mega Millions drawing is tonight. The jackpot's up to $265 million. That'll buy you a nice island somewhere. The Powerball jackpot, $348 million, and that drawing is coming up tomorrow.
A piece of history found nearly 80 years later.
The wreckage of a U.S. aircraft carrier sunk by Japan during World War II, discovered by a team of explorers.
Plus, police and firefighters team up to save a choking puppy, and the life-saving action all caught on camera. You're watching ABC 2 News at 5.
How about this? A piece of United States history found today off the Australian coast nearly 80 years after it went missing. Wreckage of the USS Lexington, a U.S. aircraft carrier. It was sunk by Japan during World War II. It was discovered by a team of explorers, and the vessel known as Lady Lex was found 2 miles below the surface of the Coral Sea. Its general resting place was known for some time, but the expedition captured the first photos of the warship since it went down. More than 200 members of its 2,700-member crew were killed when Lady Lex sunk. It was one of the first U.S. aircraft carriers ever built. That is history. And speaking of discoveries, the Maryland Department of Transportation also made a significant one. State Highway Administration archaeologists found this historic burial ground in Anne Arundel County. It was once part of a plantation owned by relatives of Francis Scott Key, of course, the author of the national anthem. And during their investigation, archaeologists discovered the grave of who they believe was a 4-year-old African-American boy named Joseph Grocia. They say he was buried in 1913, but officials need to examine the area a little bit further to see who else may have been buried there. The property is owned by Rockbridge Academy right there in Crownsville.
ABC 2 News is a proud partner of Johns Hopkins Children's Center. You're watching the station that works for you. Now, ABC 2 News at 5.
Ding, round 2. Here comes another blast of weather coming our way, but it's not the wind we're going to have to worry about this time. Our weather team is tracking the storm.
A missing 14-year-old baby girl back with her mom tonight. We're going to tell you where the infant was found and why her father was arrested.
And police and firefighters to the rescue. Not only do they save us, but they also save our 4-legged friends. We're going to show you why this pup's owner has nothing but thanks for first responders tonight.
Well, snow, rain, and some wind. We're getting ready for another storm on the way. I'm Kelly Swoop along with Jamie Costello.
Now, this storm is not going to even rival what we saw last week, thankfully. And tonight, our team of Maryland's most accurate meteorologists are working for you. Let's start with meteorologist Eric Taylor. Eric, what's different about this storm?
It looks like we're going to be in with a close call here, Jamie, with a nor'easter. Most of the action is actually going to be north of the area, but very, very close to Baltimore here, and you can actually see here on the map with winter weather advisories in place across portions of Carroll, as well as Baltimore County, Hartford County, and back into Cecil County. Last night when we were talking to you at this time, we had winter storm watches, so luckily we moved out of a watch into an advisory, but the warnings are not too far away. So if you have to do any travels into southeastern portions of Pennsylvania tomorrow, that's where we're likely to see the big time problems. Here closer to home, maybe not so much. We also have some coastal flood warnings and advisories in place across portions of the Chesapeake Bay and Anne Arundel County, as well as Baltimore County, back into portions of Harford and Cecil County. And this is for some higher tides in the bay tomorrow afternoon as the winds start to pick up once again. But the wind is not going to be as serious as what we saw on Friday. Thankfully for that, but we do have a little bit more in the way of wintry precipitation to talk about, and we're actually already seeing that here on radar. If you step out and about here for dinner or supper time, you're probably seeing some little droplets and little pellets pinging and ponging off of the windshield or even your jacket. That's what we call sleet and freezing rain that's falling out of the sky, just some plain old rain down towards Annapolis. This is the first of many bands that will be pushing through the area, courtesy of an area of low pressure all to the south and west, and that's going to transfer to the coast with another area of low pressure, and that's going to become our nor'easter and most likely become a bigger storm, at least for the bigger cities of Philadelphia and New York City. Right now outside, temperatures are above freezing, 42 degrees. The dew point key here, the higher the number goes, that means the more moisture in the sponge that we call the atmosphere above. Temperatures in most spots in the 40s, so no worries here for at least any stickage to the ground. You go back to the western Maryland, that's where you'll have some problems, at least during the overnight hours, for a little bit of that snow to stick. So your evening planner starts out with a little bit of a wintry mix, but then transitions over to snow. We'll send it over now to Mike Taylor. He'll have the latest here on the timing and what we're expecting as we start to work through the overnight into Wednesday.
Yeah, that's exactly right. One thing I will mention, this is not a storm that belongs towards the nor'easter. I should say it's not a storm that's going to belong for the northeast. This will be a storm system that we're going to be concerned with, just giving us a little bit of snow based on the temperature profile. So here's a breakdown of the wintry mess that we'll be dealing with. We'll deal with a quick thump of snow as we go into the overnight, but with the ground temperatures above freezing, a lot of this is going to be that slushy type of snow. Therefore, warm ground temperatures is not going to impact a lot of our travel time during the morning. Gusty winds 30 to 40 miles per hour, so no, not as strong as that previous nor'easter that we experienced, but some of the trees are still weakened. Therefore, it's not going to take much. So that is another concern that we'll have going into the day tomorrow. As far as timing this out for you, the wintry mix is expecting to really start to pick up as we go into the overnight. We'll be dealing with this during the morning commute. That's really going to slow things down, but the good news here, most of the heaviest accumulation will be north and east of the city. As we get closer towards the city, things really start to improve, and after that, we'll have brighter skies ahead. So coming up in the full forecast, Eric will have the full details on this storm. We'll take a look at that 7-day forecast because there's another system that we're going to have to follow.
All right, well, we're talking about 50 million Americans are in the path of this one.
As ABC's Maggie Rulli reports, the East Coast bracing for another nor'easter as the Midwest is facing a blizzard.
A massive winter storm marches east, pelting the Midwest with heavy snow, freezing rain, and gale-force winds. Parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota were hit by nearly a foot of snow, turning roads into disaster zones.
That is not good.
Super slippery. Stay inside.
In Hazleton, Iowa, icy conditions caused this 11-car crash. Now that dangerous storm is heading east, looking to make a direct hit on the very same areas still recovering from Friday's nor'easter.
If I never see another snowflake, that's fine with me.
Like the hard-hit Massachusetts coastline.
Never seen this bad. That's why I just kind of in awe.
Where many communities are still underwater. Some families using paddle boards to get their kids to school. Giant waves are crashing over Scituate's seawall and slamming right into homes.
I've got about probably 4.5 feet of water in my basement right now.
And in Duxbury, they're shoring up a section of the seawall that collapsed during Friday's storm.
We have massive destruction to our infrastructure here.
More than 200,000 customers are still without power. Crews are rushing to clean up downed power lines and toppled trees. Some residents are taking matters into their own hands.
I just saw someone who said they were going to try to remove the tree today. They don't know when Con Ed is coming for power.
21 states from the Midwest into the Northeast are under winter storm alerts, and the governor of New Jersey's already declared a state of emergency starting tonight through Thursday morning. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
All right, we've got you covered. ABC 2's working for you, making sure you know the moment the severe weather hits. Download our ABC 2 News app. You can watch the live radar, check out the 7-day forecast, and it's really easy to get it. All you have to do is search WMAR in your phone's app store. And now the latest on that missing a 14-day-old baby that's been reunited with her mom.
Yeah, this after the child's birth father disappeared with her on Friday, leaving her frantic mother to wait and hope. ABC 2 News' Jeff Hager spoke with the mom today and has the latest on the reunion. Jeff.
Jamie Kelly, talk about your happy ending. 78 hours after 2-week-old Milan Butler disappeared in the midst of a custody battle, her mother received word that she had been found safe and sound.
I would have never thought any of this would happen. I'm just happy she's home.
Almost 4 days after her disappearance, 14-day-old Milan Butler returns to the arms of her mother. A mother who spent 9 months awaiting her child's birth, only to have her taken away when the birth father stormed out of this apartment complex in northeast Baltimore with the young child 4 days ago without saying a word.
Nothing. He just ran. He just ran out with her. She had no hat on, no coat, no blanket, no nothing.
A close neighbor had looked on helplessly as 25-year-old Dorian Butler left the building with the baby in his arms and with the mother, Janae Owens, trailing helplessly behind them.
She was running out and she was distraught. Like, I just jumped out my car like, are you okay? And she was like, that's our baby. To see that her baby was missing, that broke my heart because I can't imagine something happening to my kids. So once she told me this morning that the baby was found, it was a relief.
Police tracked down the father and arrested him, but Milan's whereabouts remained a mystery until someone dropped her off at a fire station in Baltimore County.
A couple of our guys were in the kitchen at the Westview fire station when someone pulled up in a vehicle, knocked on the door of the station and with a baby, holding a baby, and asked to be let in. The person said, "This is Milan. She's been on the news." They handed us the baby and the person immediately left.
After 4 days, Janae Owens could finally put her worst fears behind her.
I haven't ate, I haven't slept. It's just been an ongoing thing until we found her.
While Milan's father won't face kidnapping charges because of his relationship with the baby, he is facing 3 counts of burglary in connection with the incident. And Milan's mother went to court today and was granted temporary custody with the child's welfare in mind.
17. That's how many people we've lost to an overdose in Harford County just this year alone. And to honor their lives, the Sheriff's Department placed 17 black balloons right outside its headquarters for each of the victims. It commemorates Black Balloon Day, which is today, March the 6th. It's to raise awareness of overdose deaths. So far this year, the county saw a total of 74 overdoses.
Well, the online dating app Bumble is banning guns from its users' profile pictures in light of the deadly shooting in Florida last month. The app released a statement saying starting today, they'll evaluate all user photos for firearms. It's also donating $100,000 to the March for Our Lives organization, which was founded by the survivors of the Parkland school shooting. Hate speech and inappropriate sexual contact are also banned from the Bumble app.
Well, State Delegate Glenn Glass introduced a bill that would prohibit Maryland residents from being denied the right to purchase, possess, or carry a gun because they use medical marijuana. This is another step in Glass's fight for the Second Amendment and for people who use the drug. The Judiciary Committee heard the bill today. Glass says Maryland is the free state, and someone who is not breaking state law should not lose their Second Amendment rights.
A bill requiring presidential hopefuls to make their tax returns public in order to appear on Maryland's ballot passes the state Senate. It would require any presidential or vice presidential candidates to release 5 years of tax returns before getting on the ballot. Maryland could be the first state to enact such a requirement. The measure was introduced last year after President Donald Trump refused to release his returns. The bill now heads to the House.
A bus driver on a cell phone, caused this chain reaction crash, and it's all caught on camera. The driver slammed a car and then hit a street sign and landed right on top of a car in front of it. A third car was pushed down the road. Nobody was inside any of the cars in Dayton, Ohio. This is where it happened. No word if the driver of the bus is going to be charged. What do you mean, no word? He was on a phone.
I would say,
come on.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good chance. All right, this is a happy story. Police and firefighters saving a choking puppy.
Duke Castelloni tells us what unfolded on camera.
Just after lunchtime yesterday, Megan Vitale came rushing into the North Reading police station with her puppy Bodie. Little Bodie was choking and couldn't breathe. And as you can see from the surveillance video, Officer Jorge Hernandez wasted no time, springing into action using a version of the Heimlich maneuver on the 9-week-old St. Bernard.
So the first couple of compressions weren't really doing anything, and then I
I tried to squeeze in a little harder, and then I kind of heard a puff of air come out.
Meanwhile, members of the North Reading Fire Department, stationed on the other side of the building, came rushing over with oxygen for the puppy, which they applied with a special mask they use on animals.
Quickly hooked him up to that and gave him some oxygen, kind of pat him to keep him going.
Before the incident, Bodie had been with his new family for less than 24 hours. A piece of his lunch just went down the wrong pipe.
You treat everything the same. You see someone or something that's in distress, and you do what you can to help, and that's what we're trained to do. That's what we did.
Now, I did speak by phone with Bodie's owner, Megan, this afternoon. She was still too upset to come on camera. However, she tells me the prognosis is good and that Bodie is resting comfortably at the Bulger Animal Hospital in North Andover. She also tells me she is so grateful for the police and fire departments here in North Reading.
She was very nervous when she came in, and she was a lot better when she left, so that's good.
That is good.
Look at Bodie, isn't he cute?
Well, the chief says that the firefighters are trained to respond to emergencies involving pets.
And they stepped up.
How about that?
All right, a new Natty Bo beer hits store shelves. Line up.
This has been a long time in coming. The Crab Shack Shanty is meant to emulate the feeling of summertime along the bay.
And coming up, the lesson plan for this class was a little dicey, literally. A live surgery broadcast to students here at Glen Burnie. I'll have more information coming up.
It's that time of the year again for the Baltimore Blast.
ABC2's Sean Stepner tells us the professional indoor soccer team on another quest for another league championship. What else is new?
We believe. We believe we can compete and win a championship. We've done it. We have confidence that we can do it again.
If the Baltimore Blast are anything, they are confident heading into the Ron Newman Cup playoffs, vying for their third consecutive Major Arena Soccer League championship.
We're a battle-tested team. We have that belief that we've been able to, overcome a lot in the past, and we're going to be able to do it again.
The Eastern Division champions' postseason path begins Thursday night in Syracuse as they begin a divisional playoff series against the Silver Knights. The Blast winning the regular season series against Syracuse 3-1, with all 3 victories coming by a single goal.
The team that they have there has been together for quite some time. Not much different than what you see here in Baltimore. You can't underestimate them.
Following Thursday's playoff opener, the series will then shift to Baltimore for Game 2 on Sunday, where the Blast will try to stay perfect inside their new home. They are an undefeated 11-0 in their inaugural season at CQ Arena.
It's a new home. We love it there. It's a great atmosphere that the fans have helped us create there.
You can throw the Blast anywhere, and we're going to find success. It's not really where we play, it's who we are and what we do.
The MASL has changed their playoff format this year. Only the divisional round will be a 2-game series with a mini-game if necessary. After that, all single-game elimination. In Baltimore, Sean Stepner, ABC2 News.
And if you want to see the Blast win again, there are still tickets available for